Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and compare the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 14 and see which specific one is the better one. Now, if you want to pick up either one of these iPhones, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, if you looked at each one side by side, which one would you think is which? Now, you may assume the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 13, or whichever ones they are. I will definitely tell you, I don't even know where I'm going with this. The iPhone 13 is the one on the left, the iPhone 14 is the one on the right. And here's the thing I'll basically tell you. If I hadn't told you that, there's no way of basically telling. The only other way you can tell is that the iPhone 13 still has this SIM card tray on the left side, where the iPhone 14 does not have it. That's the quickest way to tell, in my opinion. Other than that, same exact 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED displays on both, and they're both very good. I haven't had any complaints with either of these. Again, the biggest thing I can only even think of is the lack of 120 hertz on both these phones. I will say it's not really a crazy big deal to me, but I'm hoping by the iPhone 15s, the base models do have at least like 90 hertz. If they don't, then I think that's worthwhile to start complaining. But otherwise, when I look at both these side by side, the fronts, there's pretty much nothing to complain about. Pretty much the exact same thing. On the bottom, lightning ports between both. In terms of thickness and thickness and button placement, pretty much the same exact thing, as you guys may be able to tell. As far as I can tell, not that big of a difference. You can see we have the ringer switch almost the exact same spot. I mean, they took the exact same body between both. There's pretty much no difference between these two at all, except for the SIM card tray at the bottom right here. On the back, like I said before, we do have dual camera setups on both too, which is really nice. And I don't think you're able to tell like the size difference between the cameras. I think they're identical. I mean, I think Apple stated they're a little bit bigger, but I don't know, dude. I can't really tell. 12 megapixel sensors on both as well, so not that big of a difference there. You can see the Apple logos on the same spots between both. I got the white color of this specific model, the 14, and it looks really good. I kind of wish I got it for my 13 as well. I got the blue one. I don't know why I did. I had a 12 that was white, and that one was a very good color as well. And in terms of the outside, that kind of covers it up. There are absolutely no differences I could see on the outside. Again, there may be some things I was going to throw out there that, oh, this one's a liquid retina coated display. It's pretty much the exact same thing. You're not going to notice any differences between these at all. Now, another big thing between these two, like I said, is the lack of SIM card eject tool. That's something that I wish this phone had. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Another thing is that we do now have emergency SOS mode with our iPhone 14. We don't have that on our 13s. I think that's a cool feature. If you're not really going out too much and you're really not like hiking or something, that might not be a big deal. You also have crash detection on the 14 as well, which I think is cool. It just really depends if you plan on utilizing it. Like, not utilizing it, but if you plan on being in those types of situations. If not, then I guess it's no big deal. Now, I will say one of the bigger things about buying an iPhone 14, and really the only thing I can think of that used to be a big deal that isn't anymore, is the longevity. The iPhone 14 and the iPhone 13 has the same type of chipset inside. Now, why is that important? Well, when we look at the longevity of a phone, when we look at how long a phone is going to last, the iPhone 14, because it has the same chipset as the iPhone 13, they're probably going to be lasting the same amount of time. Now, this is for better and for worse. For one, I mean, that's cool, I guess. Apple kept the same chipset or whatever. That kind of helps the iPhone 13. But at its core, that hurts the iPhone 14, in my opinion, because this phone could have easily gotten the next like 30 versions of software, in my opinion. These iPhones can last forever. But now that this one has the same chipset as this one, how long is this iPhone going to last? That's my main question. So when I look at these two phones, I mean, I'm definitely going to assume the iPhone 13, maybe isn't going to last as long as the 14, but just with the chipsets alone and the same amount of RAM, I just don't see how Apple's going to differentiate these two phones, in my opinion. So in terms of that, that covers it up there. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these phones. The iPhone 14 and the 13 both have Apple A15 bionic chips inside of them with 4 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between both of these. Okay, there we go. Hopefully it kind of looks decent over the camera. I'll go and clear all the applications in the background so you guys can see it. Now let's get into the main panels. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing, not a big difference here. Let's go and do music, 3, 2, 1. By the way, the 14 is here, the iPhone 13 is here, in case I forgot to say it. iPhone 14 on the left, iPhone 13 on the right. Pretty much the same thing. Let's go and hop out of here. Let's go and get into their app stores, 3, 2, 1. Surprised I have not missed out in an application yet. I figured I might as well have gotten to it. And you can see right here, we did get into this pop-up, which is weird. That's my second time seeing that. So I don't know why it popped up again. I'm scrolling through here. Let's go and see if there's a big difference, which I don't really think there's going to be that massive difference here. You can see pretty much the same type of experience. Hopping out of these two, let's go and get into mail, 3, 2, 1. Looks like I don't like the iPhone 13 was the faster one there. Apple TV, 3, 2, 1. Now, I do want to state the iPhone 14, because it is newer, even though it has the same chipset, it has a higher likelihood of opening up these apps faster in general. So just keep that in mind, news 321. But it kind of looks like the iPhone 13 is doing a better job. Now, in this case, you can see different pop ups between both, so it's kind of hard to tell with this one. Clock 321. So it seems to be like a lot of these built in applications, very little differences. So this kind of takes this time to go ahead and bring us into these other applications. Let's go into Facebook 321. I think I'm logged into an account here, and I am. So we're just going to hop out of this one. Stack 321. I wish these light things weren't in the way. That would have been a lot better if they weren't. Now you can see the iPhone 14 did actually load into this one up. But you can see, I mean, in my opinion, there really was absolutely not that big of a difference between here. Let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go and get into Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And it does look like the iPhone 14 did load into this one a little bit faster. So again, this may be a pretty big thing. That doesn't really mean too much in my opinion. I mean, it's a very basic application. And let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go and get into something like Instagram 321. Like I said, I'm logged in here, so there's really no point in doing that. Twitter 321. 14 a little bit faster there. Okay, very good. Let's go and try Snake vs. Blocks 321. And it does look like the iPhone 14 is faster. Let's try Genshin Impact in this example. Let's go and hop out of this one. 3, 2, 1. Now we'll just get into the points where we can get into the loading panel. But beyond that, I think we kind of have an idea of which one is the faster one. I think the 14 is probably faster, but like I said, I think this has a lot more to do with this phone being brand new and me just, utilizing it, rather than the iPhone 13 being slower, because the 14 is just slightly tweaked faster. Other than that, I think the iPhone 14 is probably not that much faster in likelihood than the iPhone 13. Now, in terms of the cameras on the back, like I mentioned before, not that big of a difference. They have the same type of capability for the most part. You're getting, those same wide and ultra wide lenses, same megapixel count, 4K 60 on the back and the front. Really not that big of a difference. Now, in my opinion, the iPhone 13, this was a tremendous camera. I had a great experience with this when this first came out, and even now I think this is a very great camera. There's really not too much to complain about here. Now, this thing has, ultra wide sensor here, which is really nice. You have the ability of zooming in a lot too, which is really cool. And I think this thing, for it having the capability that it has, is actually really awesome. Now, the iPhone 14 does have an extra trick up its sleeve, I think is the best way to describe it. It has a new stabilization mode, which I think is really cool. I just don't know if that's going to be super practical in like an everyday sense, like how many people are going to be utilizing it. But I do think that it's more of a pro than a con. Like, that's definitely a cool feature. From my first glance of like actually utilizing this phone's camera, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that much bigger of a difference. I'll have to test it out thoroughly, but I don't think we're going to be seeing that big of a difference here. If there's one area where the iPhone 13 is worth it to going up to the 14, it's definitely not in the camera. Like I mentioned, you do have that new stabilization mode. Cinematic mode should have gotten a little bit of an upgrade here too, which is really cool. But other than that, you're really not going to be going from your iPhone 13 to your iPhone 14, in my opinion, because of the camera. But the iPhone 14 would probably have the better camera when it comes down to it. So that kind of takes us to the end of the video. And to be completely honest, when I look at both these phones, I kind of do think like, yes, the iPhone 14 is probably the better one. You're going to be getting better performance, probably better camera, better battery life. But the amount of difference that it is between the 13 and the 14, if the iPhone 14 was a 10 out of 10, let's just call it a 10 out of 10, even though it isn't, but let's just say it was, the iPhone 13 is a 9.8 out of 10. It has almost every single thing that the iPhone 14 has. It's actually better with that SIM card tray, in my opinion. Other than that, I probably wouldn't even go from an iPhone 12 to an iPhone 14. I wouldn't even go from an iPhone 11 to an iPhone 14. I would go from an iPhone 11 to an iPhone 13 and save the money, because you're getting that SIM card tray and you're saving a little bit of money. Other than that, these phones are almost identically the same, and I probably wouldn't go from one or the other, to my opinion. So that kind of covers it. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.